Welcome everyone to your Saturday slow flow session. I had something pop up on my Instagram feed the other day that I found so inspiring, and it made me really start thinking about the fact that we keep turning up for ourselves, that we're looking after ourselves as best we can. It was two men and doing the same yoga shapes, little sequences and stuff, but one of the men was 33, one of the men was 73. And you would naturally think that probably the 33-year-old would fall into these shapes a little bit more readily than the older man. But the older guy was actually, I don't know, there was something more easeful about the way he was moving into the shapes, less clunky perhaps. And the text, the narrative around this post was that this guy had been practicing yoga for 50 years, pretty well every day, did something. And the 33-year-old was fairly new to it. But I found it really inspiring in the idea that, if we just keep doing something, if we just keep putting in the effort, even if it's a little bit of effort each day of remembering to do some movements that support our bodies, it's going to be beneficial in the long run and help keep us moving well. And also, more importantly, probably, is keep us breathing well. When we're in the womb, our bodies are in this little curled up shape. When we come out, we start unfurling a bit. When we find our legs as toddlers, the spine starts to become nice and straight. And as we come into adulthood, the spine is nice and long in axial extension. But then as we age towards the other end, we start curling forward again like this. And of course, you will have seen elderly people and their posture is really compromised. That means their breathing is also compromised. And I read a statistic recently that suggested we lose 30% of our capacity to breathe well when we're old. And that's a little bit scary because, as you know, the way we breathe affects not only our physical well-being, but also our mental health, and anxiety can start to really take hold of us when we can't breathe efficiently. So doing a little bit of something most days for a long time is only going to serve us in the long run. And I thought today we might do a variation of the gratitude practice. And normally when we do the gratitude practice, I get you to, dedicate it to somebody or something that you're grateful for in your life. But today I thought it would be nice to dedicate that gratitude towards yourself for showing up, for doing the things that you do that helps you look after yourself, that helps you put yourself in a better position for future you as well. So our gratitude practice today is themed around being grateful for you and all the things that you do for yourself. We are going to start on the back today though. So we'll come to lying down on the back. And we'll take constructive rest position. So we'll have the feet quite wide and the knees dropped into the middle, letting the lower back just soften towards the earth, and let your arms rest by the sides of the body, the palms facing upwards. And just taking a moment now to really arrive here for your practice. Pressing the pause button on any distracting thoughts, concerns, or to-do lists. Allowing all of these things to just sit by the side of the mat now. Giving yourself this time to be completely present for your practice, right here and right now. And scanning through your body now from the top of your head all the way down to your toes. Becoming aware of places in your body that might be holding on to a sense of tension or tightness or fatigue. And then noticing too where you're feeling the opposite way in your body today, where there might be a sense of vibrancy, of strength, and spaciousness in your body. Acknowledging that opposites are always present in the body, and welcoming everything about how you are physically, just as it is right now. Starting to connect to your breathing now. aware of the air as it moves in through your nose and out through your nose. Noticing how deeply you're breathing and noticing the texture of your breath. Maybe it's quite smooth, maybe it's a little jagged, maybe it's somewhere in between. Without judging or criticizing any aspect of your breathing, welcoming it just as it is. And then taking your next inhalation into the center of your chest, expanding your breath to the sides, the back and front, upwards and downwards, meeting that natural pause at the top of your inhalation, and then starting to exhale, drawing inwards and upwards through the body as you let go of the breath, finding the pause at the end of your exhale. Breathing in again, right into the center of your chest and taking your breath in every direction. Finding the pause at the top of your inhalation. And then exhaling again, drawing inwards and upwards through the body as you let go of the breath and anything that no longer serves you, carried by the breath. Meeting the pause at the end of your exhale again. And we'll continue to breathe this way through our practice today, putting your attention on this conscious 4-part breathing pattern. Aware, of course, of the movements of air in and out of your lungs, but also being present right there in the little pauses in between, these places where we get to drop into quiet and stillness. And when we breathe it this way, it helps us to be able to start to slow the breathing down. And in slowing down the breath, we also have the chance to quieten a busy mind, to soothe the nervous system, and to connect to a felt sense of sattva, of harmony, balance, equilibrium through the body, the mind, and the spirit. And we'll set intention for this practice now as we work towards our gratitude practice, really dedicating what you're doing to you today. Being grateful to yourself for showing up and continuing to show up, to do the best you can, to look after your body, your mind, and your heart. When you're ready, we'll walk the feet back to the middle of the mat. And let's lift the right foot off the mat, sending the leg into the air. We're going to make circles from the right hip now. Just handing over to your body to choose what size and shape these circles might be. They could be completely symmetrical, they might be asymmetrical, they might be tiny, they might be broader. Handing over to let your body choose, trusting its wisdom. And allow everything on the left side of the pelvis to be really quiet and still as you just focus on that movement on the right side. And then let's change directions. Noticing as you move in the opposite direction, what might be different. Maybe your body is suggesting a slightly different shape or size. Maybe everything feels pretty well the same. The movement might be a little smoother or a little clunkier going this way, just noticing. And then release that right foot back to the mat, and we'll do the same on the left. So raising that leg up in the air, starting to make circles from the left hip, the right side of the pelvis really quiet and still. Handing over to your body to choose the size and the shape. And then moving the other way, paying attention to what might change as you change directions. Or maybe everything is pretty well the same. Without judging any of that information, just noticing. And then keeping that movement going in the left leg, we're going to lift the right foot off the mat now, let the right leg join in. So we're making circles with the whole of the pelvis, getting a lovely massage across the pelvis and into the lower back. You might choose to bring your knees right up and in towards the chest. You might like to let the knees just hover around the pelvis. Again, just trusting your body to know what's best. And then going the other way. And then come back to center and we'll release the feet to the floor. Let's gather up the right leg now. So you might clasp your hands over your right shin or knee or behind the thigh, whatever feels best for you. Let's just take a moment to establish a neutral spine position here. So we want just a little bit of space between the lower back and the floor. And then we'll start to slide the left foot away, straightening out the left leg. But if you do notice any discomfort or tingling or anything a bit weird, keep that leg bent instead. So let's come back to the breath now, working with your exhalation to gently guide the right thigh in towards the chest. And then when you're breathing in, imagine you can direct your breath all the way down to the toes of the left foot and all the way up to the top of the shoulder as we fill the left side of the body with a sense of spaciousness and length, releasing through the deep front line on this side. Bring your attention to the big toe of the left foot and then through to the inner ankle, up the inner calf and inner thigh to the hip joint, and then follow the psoas all the way up to the sternum as we let go of any energy we might be holding through the deep front line that isn't serving us, and make space for everything that will support us today. Take another breath in here. And then when you exhale, let's curl up. Imagine drawing the pubic bone to the navel. Lower the head down again as you breathe in, and then curl up on your exhale. Lowering on the inhalation. And you might choose to close your eyes each time you rise into this shape so that we've got a better chance of moving from the lower abdominals rather than letting the head and the neck lead you into the movement, letting them follow instead. And the next time your head comes back down to the mat again, we'll meet there. And then let's take the right hand over the right kneecap. We're going to bend the left leg again, resting the foot on the mat. Take your left hand to the middle of the left thigh. We're going to press into the left thigh as we draw the right thigh into the chest. And now we are really pressing down with the whole of the back, feeling the weight of your head resting on the earth, pressing down across your broad shoulders at the back, pressing down through the upper back, the middle, the lower back, the crests of the pelvis. And as we press down, remind yourself of all the many layers of support underneath you, that energy of Ishvara that holds us in our lives every day and that holds space for us to be just as we are. Take one more round of breath here. And then we'll release from this. Let's get our belts now. We're going to pop the belt behind the left thigh. And then we'll take the right foot on top of the left knee. And then when you're ready, we'll lift the left foot off the floor so it's just dangling. Take a moment again to establish that neutral spine position, that little bit of space between the lower back and the floor. And then let's start to draw that left thigh in towards the chest with the belt. You'll feel this through the back of your right hip as we're working to release the piriformis. And when you breathe in next, send your left leg into the air, flex the foot, and then breathe out, bending the knee, bringing the foot back down again. So sending that left leg high as you breathe in, flex the foot, start to exhale and bend the knee, bringing the foot back down. So continuing with this, moving at your pace, following your breathing, getting that lovely flex through the foot as we engage through the back of the leg, and also engage in a little nerve flossing as we do this. And this is a really good one to remember if you ever have episodes of sciatica. This is the magic bullet for sciatica, I find. And then the next time your foot comes back down again, we'll let it find the mat and let go of the belt. Outstretch your arms, and then let's drop our knees over to the right side. And you might choose to support your right knee with your hand and forearm or your block, or maybe your knees are just happy to come on over this morning. See how that feels. Remembering we're never forcing or pushing our bodies into these shapes. And let's direct the gaze to the fingers of the left hand and just inch the fingers a little further away from the midline. So we're just opening up a little bit more space to breathe freely and deeply, really appreciating how deeply we can breathe. Prana flows with the breath through the body, bringing animating life force throughout our systems, and breathing deeply is such an important element in keeping our bodies well and keeping our minds well. So with your gaze on the fingers of the left hand, let's breathe in here. On exhale, send that left arm into the air, crossing over the torso to the other side. And then breathe in and send your left arm back to the left again. Crossing over the body as you exhale, your gaze on the fingertips. And this time you might paint an arc overhead as you send your arm back to the left. So continuing with this, maybe that overhead movement is something that feels quite satisfying this morning, or if there's anything going on with your shoulder, it might be better just to let the arm travel directly over the torso both times. So just tailoring this to serve your body as you find it today. Remembering that every single time we arrive on the yoga mat, we're different. We're different in our energy levels, in our mobility, in the inflammation that might be present in our bodies. So we work with the body just as we find it. And the next time your arms come back to that outstretched position again, we'll meet there. Let's bring the knees back to center. And you can release that right foot. You might like a little windscreen wiper action with the knees side to reset the spine. And then we'll come back to center and gather up that left leg now. So you might clasp your hands over the shin, over the knee, behind the thigh. See what feels best on this side. And we'll just establish that neutral spine position again. And then we'll start to slide the right foot away, straightening out the right leg. But again, if you notice anything unpleasant or a little bit weird through the right hip or leg, keep the leg bent. Let's come back to the breathing, working with your exhalation to gently guide the left thigh in towards the chest. And then when you're breathing in, imagine being able to breathe all the way down to your toes and all the way up to the top of the shoulder, as we fill the right side of the body with a sense of spaciousness and length. Every exhale, drawing the left thigh in, every inhalation, filling out the right side of the body. And then bring your attention to the big toe of the right foot, and then come through to the inner ankle, up the inner calf and inner thigh to the hip joint. And then we follow the psoas up to the sternum as we release through the deep front line on this side, letting go of any energy trapped through that line that isn't serving us. Take another breath in here. And then when you exhale, we'll curl up again, drawing the pubic bone to the navel. Lower the head down as you breathe in. Curling up on your exhale and lowering as you breathe in. Continuing with this, again, you might like to close your eyes. So we're really leading from the lower abdominals rather than the neck and the head. When your head comes back down to the mat this time, we'll meet there. And then let's take the left hand over the left kneecap and we'll bend the right leg again, resting your foot on the mat. Take your right hand to the middle of the right thigh. And then we're going to press into that right thigh as we draw the left thigh into the chest. And now we're pressing down with the whole of the back, broadening out through the shoulders, feeling the crests of the pelvis pressing into the earth. And as you press down, again, remembering all that is underneath you, all the layers of support in your life that hold you in your world and offer you steadiness, strength, and resilience. Take one more round of breath here. And then we'll release from this. We'll get the belt. And this time it can go behind the right thigh. And then we'll put the left foot on top of the right knee, lift the right foot off the floor, letting it dangle as you just establish that neutral spine position again. And we start to bring that right thigh into the chest with the belt. And you'll be feeling this through the back of the left hip as we work to release the piriformis on this side. The challenge is always to keep the spine in that neutral position rather than flattening the back against the floor as we work with this one. When you breathe in next, send your left leg into the air, flex the foot, start to exhale, bending the knee and bringing the foot back down again. Sending the leg high as you breathe in, flex the foot, start to exhale, bend the knee, bringing the foot back down. So continuing with this, still drawing that right thigh in towards the chest, maintaining your neutral spine position. And each time you flex the foot, really feeling that through the back of the leg as we work with the hamstrings and the back of the calf. When your foot comes back down this time, let it find the floor. We'll let go of the belt and outstretch the arms. Take a breath in here, and then let's drop our knees to the left side. So you might support your left knee with your hand and forearm. You might use your block, or you might let your knees just come on over to the left side if they're happy to do that. Let your gaze fall on the fingers of the right hand, and then inch the fingers just a little further away from the midline as we really open up the rib cage to breathe deeply and freely. Breathing well is the cornerstone of yoga practice. It's wonderful to move our bodies, but the most important thing is being able to breathe well, to direct prana through the body, to really breathe out well, to let go of all of the things that aren't needed in the lungs, but also that aren't needed energetically, breathing them out deliberately. With your gaze on the fingers of the right hand, let's breathe in here. And then on exhale, we'll send that arm into the air, crossing over the body to the left side. Open the arm out again to the right as you breathe in, and then crossing over the torso as you exhale. And you might like to paint an arc overhead if you like, sending the arm back to the right, crossing over on the exhale. So again, let's tailor this to serve your right shoulder well. You might find left and right shoulders are feeling things quite differently this morning. Yoga gives us that opportunity to just check in and to really honor our bodies as we find them, to make good choices for ourselves, to show up for ourselves with authenticity and with empathy. And then when you next come to your outstretched arm position again, we'll meet there. And then let's bring the knees back to center, releasing your left foot. Again, a little windscreen wiper action with the knees side to side. And we can get rid of our belts now. So let's drop the knees open wide now, bringing the soles of the feet together in butterfly pose. And we'll just rest the hands on the tummy for a moment. And noticing that when you're in this shape, there's just a little bit more space between the lower back and the floor, as we're in the tiniest of back bends here of Brahmana shapes. Brahmana shapes are interesting in that they lift the energy of the body. So even sometimes when you're taking butterfly pose in a restorative kind of class, we're still bringing that brightening energy to the body as we hold the position. Feeling the breath move through the torso, feeling softness moving into the hip creases and into the inner thighs. And each time you're breathing out, be aware of that gentle consolidation through the midline of the body as the abdominal wall gets involved in the process of exhaling. So opening up into softness and expansion as you breathe in, and feeling that gentle consolidation through the midline each time you're breathing out. I read an interesting little quote yesterday. I don't even remember who the author was, but it said, "A butterfly is not born with its wings, darling." And I like that about this idea of showing up for ourselves, that 73-year-old man moving so efficiently was doing so just because he made it a habit to look after himself, to show up and do the work for 50 years. When you're ready, let's take a hold of the outer edges of the mat. And then we're going to breathe in and lift the hips and the chest into the air, pulling the mat away from the crown. And imagining that the pelvis can drop away from the sacrum on both sides, like the left and the right sides of the pelvis are independent from the sacrum in between, opening back like butterfly wings as we hold this elevated position. Take one more breath in here, and then we'll release the back to the mat in one piece. Let go of holding onto the mat as well. Bring your knees together. And then let's set up for Dvipadapitam desk pose. So we want a little bit of space between the feet. They might be parallel or they might be splayed out a little. See what feels best for you. And let's feel into the 3 points of support in the feet, under the big toe, under the pinky toe, and under the heel, really pressing very evenly into the earth. And then when you're ready, breathe in, lifting the hips and the chest into the air. Take your arms overhead or wide. Begin your exhale and then gently roll yourself right back down to our starting position. Rising into the shape as you breathe in, lifting the hips and the heart, the arms overhead or wide. Start your exhale and gently roll yourself back down again. And as you're moving through this shape,
Noticing how your spine is going in and out of it. Notice places which are moving quite freely in the spine. You might have places that are a little sticky or resistant. And again, without judging that information, just noticing it. And again, when we're practicing yoga regularly, we can start to be aware of places that seem to be permanently a certain way, or that there might be changes going on in our practice. Parts of the back might suddenly feel a lot more freer, or there might be some more resistance there. But it's the ability to take the time to pay attention, to notice, and then to make good decisions based around that. When you come into the elevated position next, let's meet there and we'll bring our arms back down to the mat. So you might press your palms into the mat, or maybe you'd like to clasp your hands behind your back and walk the shoulders in a little. Let's get right back into the feet again. So really present in those 3 points of support in the feet. Let's fire up through the calves and the thighs. Let's fire up through the glutes, through the abdominal wall, and press down with the back of your shoulders, really feeling this pose being shared very evenly throughout the body. And you might choose to stay just as you are, or if you like, you can send your left leg into the air, pointing your toes to the ceiling. Let's bring a little more strength to the right leg now so that we're able to hold the pelvis very stable in this position. And then release that left foot back to the floor. Steady up through both legs. And then let's send the right leg into the air if you want to, pointing your toes to the ceiling. Firing up the left leg a little more. Keeping the pelvis nice and stable. And then return the right foot to the floor and gently roll yourself down, down, down. Lift the feet off the floor, and we might take happy baby now. So you could hold onto your feet. You might hold behind your calves. You might hold behind your thighs. If you like, you can have a whole lot of space between your feet or have them close together. This is another one where we just hand over to the body to lead you in relieving any tension that is present. And then when you're ready, roll over to the side. We're going to come onto hands and knees and set up for cat pose. So let's establish a cat in a way that helps us look after our shoulders. So we want to keep just a little bit of softness in the elbows. And then let's lengthen out from the crown to the tailbone and draw the belly in. Breathe in here in cat. And then as you exhale, move to cow pose, tucking the chin and tailbone under. Return to cat again now, lifting your gaze this time. And then move on to child's pose as you let your breath go. Come back to cat again, breathing in and finding neutral there. Moving on to cow as you exhale. Return to cat again now, lifting your gaze. And then moving on to child's pose as you breathe out. When you come to cat this time, we'll meet here. And then on exhale, send your left leg down the back of the mat. Lift the leg up as you breathe in, and then bring the knee into the chest on exhale. Extending again, maybe adding your opposite arm into the mix if you like, or maybe just moving in and out of this with the leg only. Pay attention to what feels right in terms of stability and in terms of keeping your breath smooth and consistent. In your next extension, we'll hold in the pose, flexing the foot and pushing out through the heel. Let's lower that extended leg just a little until you really feel your pelvis becoming a lot more stable and even.
Draw the belly in and bring the neck in line with the spine. We'll lengthen out from the heel to the opposite shoulder or fingertips. Return to cat again now, and then move on to child's pose, letting all your breath go there. Come back to cat again, breathing in. On exhale, send the right leg down the back of the mat. Lift the leg up as you breathe in, and then bring the knee into the chest on exhale. Again, if you like, you might add your opposite arm into your extensions, or maybe it's better just to move only with the leg on this side. Paying attention to what serves you best in this moment, in this body, as you find it. In your next extension, we'll hold in the pose again. Flex the foot, push out through the heel. Let's lower the extended leg a little bit, evening up through the pelvis. Draw the belly in, bring the neck in line with the spine. Lengthen out from the heel to the opposite shoulder or fingertips. Come back to cat now. And then from here, let's lift it to downward dog, having a little play as you arrive in the shape, shaking out your head. Yes, 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 no, no, no. And then finding your symmetry here, lifting the hips high, drawing the belly into the spine. Let's soften into the elbows and knees and broaden through the collarbones. Bring the body forward as we move to plank pose now, shoulders over hands. Drop your knees down and then lower the torso in one piece. Rise into upward facing dog as you breathe in, and then lower yourself back down on the exhale. Rising into the shape again, breathing in, leading from the heart. Exhale, lowering down. One more round. And then move on to downward dog from here. And as you come into the shape, this time let's imagine a sling dropping from the ceiling, supporting you under the hips, inviting the hips just a little higher. Float the body forward to plank pose again, shoulders over hands, drop your knees down, lower the torso in one piece. Rise into upward facing dog, leading from the heart. Start to exhale and lower down. Rise into the shape again, breathing in and lower on your exhale. One more round. Moving on to downward dog from here. When you're ready, walk your feet towards your hands, coming into a forward fold. Take a half lift when you breathe in next, and then fold as you exhale. Take the hands to the hips, draw the elbow tips back, lead with the heart and come up to standing, palms together overhead. On exhale, take a twist to the left, pressing into the earth, the arms open wide. And then raise your arms again, breathing in. Twist towards the right as you exhale. Raise your arms again, breathing in. Drop your gaze to the floor, unfurl through the neck, the upper back, the middle and lower back into Uttanasana, our forward fold. Take a half lift when you breathe in, and then fold and soften on the exhale. Take the hands to the hips, draw the elbow tips back, lead with the heart and come up to standing, palms together overhead as we arrive in mountain pose. Let's really press our feet into the earth now, remembering all of those layers of support underneath us, intentionally connecting to that energy. Soften the shoulders, broaden into the side ribs, and take a little back bend when you're ready, welcoming vibrancy into the body. Bring the hands into the heart, Anjali Mudra. The hands docked at the sternum, drawn into the base of the heart. to your absolute essence as you take a moment to direct heartfelt gratitude towards yourself for showing up, for honoring your body, your mind, and your spirit with all that you do. Let's step the left foot back when you're ready. Coming into a warrior one position, just checking you're nice and steady before we begin to move. Hands and Anjali to begin. Let's breathe in and open the arms wide, warrior one. As you exhale, bring the hands into the heart as you honor you. Opening up again, warrior one, hearts forward. And bring the hands in as we come out. In our third round, let's take the arms high in warrior one and choose a position that feels right. That might be Anjali over the crown. There might be a whole lot of space between your hands. They might be directly above the shoulders. Really feel into that shoulder placement and see what works best for you today as you are. Let's fire up the left leg a little more so you feel it holding you as steadily as the right. And then sweep your arms behind the body, interlacing the fingers. Draw the hands away from the heart, lifting the gaze, opening up through the throat, inviting clarity in every word that is spoken today. Raise your arms high, Anjali over the crown, and then bring the hands into the heart. Gratitude to you. Open the arms wide again, warrior one, breathing in. As you exhale, straighten the right leg and bring the arms into the waist, palms facing upwards. Send the arms wide again, breathing in. And then on exhale, leave that right leg bent. We're going to bring the hands in front of the body, creating a little cup here. Draw the shoulders back, find a whole lot of space through the back of your neck. And then that little cup in front of you, you're making with your hands, can hold the heartfelt gratitude that you're offering yourself today for consistently showing up, for doing all that you do to support your body, your mind, and your heart. We'll breathe in now, raising the arms high, offering this energy up to something bigger than all of us and something that connects all of us in those layers of energy underneath us and all around us. Fold forward now. Bring your hands inside your right thigh or knee or shin. And then we'll open to Trikonasana, raising the left arm high. Float the arm down as you exhale. Send the arm high again, breathing in. And float the arm down as you breathe out. In our third round, let's hold in Trikonasana. We're going to take a bend in the elevated arm, bring it behind the body, coaxing the left shoulder back, and then play with where you're directing your gaze to find a position for your neck that feels spacious and long, and lengthen out through the whole spine again when you find that position. And then send that left arm high. Float the hand down to meet the other one. Send your arms wide as you breathe in, holding in warrior one here, even and steady in your foundations. And then step the feet together, hands to heart, coming out of the shape, just landing for a moment, meandering through your body, your eyes closed or softened, and just noticing how your body is feeling. Noticing where you're holding tension or tightness in the body. Noticing where there's a sense of spaciousness, of sweetness in the body. And just grateful for the body that you get to walk around in every single day. When you're ready, let's step the right foot back and we'll set up in our warrior one on this side. So again, just take a moment to make sure you're nice and steady before we begin to move. Hands in at the heart, Anjali Mudra, the mudra of gratitude. We'll breathe in and open to warrior one, sending the arms wide. As you exhale, bring the hands into the heart as you honor yourself. Opening up again, warrior one, hearts forward. And hands into the heart as we come out. Raise your arms high in warrior one. We'll hold the shape again. So you might just have a little play. See what you feel like doing with your shoulders and your arms in this round. Maybe Anjali over the crown feels right. Maybe having a whole lot of space between the hands feels right. Find the sweetest version of this shape for yourself in this moment and find a whole lot more strength in the right leg so you feel the limbs holding you evenly. We'll sweep the arms behind the body now, interlacing the fingers, draw the hands away from the heart and lift the gaze, opening up through the front of the body, broad through the chest, breathing freely and deeply and really appreciating the ability to be able to breathe this way. Send your arms high again, find a neutral gaze, Anjali over the crown, and then we'll bring the hands into the heart as we come out. Send your arms wide, warrior one. As you exhale, straighten the left leg, the elbows into the waist, palms facing the ceiling. Open the arms wide again, warrior one now, breathing in. We'll leave that left leg bent now. Bring the hands in front of the body, making that little cup with your hands. Draw the shoulders back, find all of that space through the back of the neck. And again, let's place heartfelt gratitude inside this little cup. Grateful to you for all that you do to support yourself, your body, your mind, your heart, showing up as you do. Raise your arms high now as we offer this energy up to something bigger than all of us. And then fold forward. We'll bring the hands inside the left thigh or knee or shin and open to Trikonasana now, raising the right arm high. Float the arm down as you breathe out. Send the arm high again, breathing in. And float the arm down on the exhale. In our third round, let's hold in the shape. We're going to take a bend in that elevated arm, bring it behind the body, coax the right shoulder back, broadening through the chest, and then playing with where you're directing your gaze. Maybe it feels right to be staring towards the ceiling, maybe gazing towards the floor is best, or putting your neck in a neutral position. But wherever that sweet position is for you, let's find it, and then let's lengthen out through the spine just a little more. Send your arm high again. Float the hand down to meet the other. Send your arms wide, breathing in warrior one, holding here for a moment, steady, strong, and grounded in your foundations. Raise the arms high. Step the feet together, hands to heart. Make a big circle around the body as you breathe in, palms together overhead. On exhale, let's move to chair pose now, bringing the hands into the heart. Take a moment to get into your feet now. So back into those 3 points of support in your feet. Find your center of gravity, lengthen up through the back of the neck. And we'll breathe in and open the arms wide. As you exhale, bring the hands into the heart, the mudra of gratitude. Opening up again, breathing in. And then hands into the heart, grateful to you. One more round. Make a big circle around the body as you come to standing, palms together overhead. We arrive in mountain pose again. Pressing your feet into the earth, soften the shoulders a little, broaden into the side ribs, and see yourself just standing on top of the mountain that is your life. Grateful for all the blessings, grateful for the lessons that we're learning along the way, and most of all, grateful to you for showing up and looking after yourself. Take a little back bend. Bring the hands into the heart now. Just landing. And again, meandering through the body, your body as you find it in this moment, which is different from yesterday or last week, last year. Mine is certainly different from 33-year-old me. I'm telling you that right now. But just appreciating our ability to move, to breathe, and to also have the knowledge that we do to help us look after ourselves. All the resources that are there for us. Grateful for all of that. Let's make a big circle around the body again, breathing in, and then we'll fold all the way forward on the exhale, and we'll step directly to downward dog from here. Our last one for the session. So bringing tapas to this, our best efforts, our focus, our discipline, really settling into this shape with a whole lot of length in the limbs and the spine. And then drop your knees to the mat when you're ready, returning to cat pose. And you might like to take a few rounds of cat-cow. This might be nice if you're craving symmetry in the body right now, after our Trikonasana in particular. Or you might like to play in Ganesha pose, swirling around, leading the body forward, gliding back, and again, handing over to the wisdom of your body to direct you to wherever you're holding dukkha, tension, tightness, or even inflammation in the body. And directing your breath there with your mind's eye as we move prana quite intentionally to where it's needed in the body. Sometimes I feel like this pose, Ganesha pose, might just be the most important one in the whole practice, because it is just about listening to your own body and moving intuitively. Come back to center. And then we'll walk the hands back towards the body and we'll lie down on the back again now. Let's bend the knees and we'll outstretch the arms, lift the feet off the floor, and we'll drop our knees over to the right side now. So you might choose to gaze to the left, you might gaze towards the ceiling if you like. If you want a little more strength in this, you're welcome to straighten out your left leg and bring your big toe to the right hand. Or just keep it simple and keep the legs bent if you like. And again, let's create a bit more space to breathe deeply by just inching the fingers of the left hand a little further away. Wringing out the spine, wringing out any tension we're holding in the spine, letting it go. Whenever we let energy that doesn't serve us go, we're immediately making space for the things that will nourish us. Come back to center when you're ready, and then we'll drop the knees over to the left side this time. So maybe you'll gaze to the ceiling, maybe you'll gaze to the right, maybe you'll straighten out your right leg and bring your big toe to the left hand. Maybe you'll keep both knees bent, tailoring it to serve you just as you are. Breathing freely and deeply, wringing out the spine, letting go. Come back to center again now, and we'll finish with Apanasana. So let's bend the knees and let the feet just dangle, hands on top of the kneecaps to start. We'll inhale and send the knees and the feet away. Begin to exhale and bring your knees into the chest. Send the legs away, maybe take your arms wide or take them overhead if you like. And everything comes back to the midline on the exhale. If you want a little more strength in this, you might linger in the pause after your inhalation when the limbs are extended, firing up the abdominal wall just a little bit before bringing everything back in on the next exhale. Or again, just keep it simple if that is what serves you best today. And let this one be your last round of Apanasana. And then we'll prepare for our relaxation. So depending on how you're feeling, you might choose constructive rest position. If your lower back's feeling a bit tired, you can drop your knees into the middle as we were when we started. Or if you're looking for a little bit more brightening in the body, take butterfly pose with the knees dropped open wide, the soles of the feet together. Or of course, you're welcome to take Shavasana with long legs down the mat if that is what is calling you. Letting go of our physical practice now. Letting go of any guidance on your breathing. The body just breathing itself now. Feeling into all the points of contact you're making with the earth right now. Feel yourself not just resting upon, but really resting into the earth, cradled and held in all of those layers of energy underneath you that hold space for you to be exactly as you are every single day, that hold space for possibilities, for growth, for the times that we might stumble when we hurt ourselves, when we need to rest and heal. That energy that holds space for all of it. Resting there. Let your mind get really quiet now. And let your heart be steadied. Allow the body to really rest. Giving yourself this time now just to be. Finding gratitude towards yourself now for having taken time today to practice yoga, doing something nourishing and restorative just for you. And finding gratitude too for being in a healthy and agile body, able to breathe and move freely, to live where we do, and be able to make all the choices you can to honor yourself just as you are. Bring a little movement to your fingers and toes now, and deepen your breathing again. And when you're ready, take a long stretch through the body or draw your knees up to your chest. And then roll over to the side and take a moment there to reorient. And we'll find our way to a comfortable seated position. When you're ready, no rushing. And we'll meet with our hands at Anjali Mudra. Bringing the base of the hands right into the sternum, connecting to the root of the heart, to your absolute essence, and holding this simple and wonderful mudra, Anjali, as the representation of gratitude itself. As you direct your gratitude towards yourself for showing up consistently, for doing what you do to look after your body, your mind, your heart, your spirit. Being grateful for you. Let's take the hands to the center of the forehead, inviting inspiration, creativity, and wonder into our thoughts. Bring the hands to the throat, inviting kindness and gratitude into our words. And hands to the heart center now, as a reminder to move through all of our days with our hearts wide open, receptive to everything nourishing and beautiful in our world. And we'll close our session now by chanting the sound of Om together, opening the arms wide as we breathe in and hands to heart as we chant. Om. Thank you for practicing with me today, everyone. Have a beautiful day ahead. Namaste.